We want to talk fitness this morning, but not maybe fitness in terms of how many thousand burpees you can do or what you can bench press at the gym. I just want to talk about the role that walking can play in really getting you fit, improving your health, and quite likely making you live a much longer, happier life. Our next guest is a personal trainer. In fact, she's twice Tasmanian Personal Trainer of the Year. But when she thinks of PT, it's not thrashing you until you vomit in a bucket. It's actually just taking you out walking and building your health that way. So let's say good day to our next guest. Learn about the role that walking can play in making you and me a healthier human. Jo Cordell-Cooper. Jo, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Lovely to see you this morning.
And
so
you.
You're a personal trainer.
Sure.
But your expertise is personal training around walking.
That's one of many things, but yep, it's kind of like the donkey and the carrot. You know, if you have adventure on your mind, if you have hikes to look forward to, you're more likely, more motivated to go to the gym, get fit, do your walks around your neighbourhood and just live a better life.
It's funny, we often don't think about the need to train to walk, but if you've got ambitions to walk a significant distance, and Peter Gutland's a living example of that. I mean, he was walking 50 Ks a day and experienced massive physical issues that he pushed through. But, you know, there were a couple of toenails lost in the process and a real physical toll taken. It's not just something you can do without training necessarily, Jo.
Yeah, well, that's right. To put Peter's effort into context, it's like running a marathon 7 days in a row. You know, like it's extraordinary endurance. And I can't imagine that. But there's certainly physical preparation in for something like that, but also the mental. You've got to know that you're going to be in the hurt locker when you take on something as big as that. But it doesn't have to be that to be
So let's talk about how
enriching.
you get people started. Let's imagine that someone who's sedentary comes to you and says, and that's lots of us who have, let things go, maybe pulled the ripcord a bit.
Yeah.
A little closer to spherical than we should be.
Yeah.
Where do you start when you're having that conversation?
Yeah,
with us?
that's a really good point because sometimes people say, I've got to be fit to go to the gym or I've got to get fit to come on a Friday night hike or something like that. And they've already popped a barrier in front. But really it starts with a conversation is what do you want to achieve? Do we want to do a multi-day? Do we want to do a long day? Or do we just want to go to the park with our kids and grandkids and enjoy life, get a little bit more into life and say yes to whatever that is. So it starts with that conversation of what that person's goal is. And we just look at, well, what do we need to do to get there?
And that starting point, that first walk potentially, how often do people say, oh, I'm worried about starting walking because I might hurt myself or damage my health? And that's an an interesting barrier as well.
I think a lot of barriers sometimes are emotional, you know, like I don't want to be last. I don't want to hold the group up. I don't know if I can walk up a hill. Those sorts of things are bigger barriers than the actual body. As Peter showed, the body can push through pain if it wants to, if you want to, if you're motivated. But we're not necessarily into that. It's just like, let's just make a start. See what's working well in your body and think of some walks around our beautiful city that are going to be beautiful for you, a nice experience, because that's important. If we're going to get fitter, we've got to enjoy it.
As a personal trainer, I mean, your doctor will say 3 to 4 lots of vigorous exercise a week is, what you should be doing. Can you walk that amount of, exercise in ways that, get your heart rate up and improve the other parts of your health that walking might touch?
Yeah. Oh, you've just touched on an issue that's pretty dear to me, and that's the fitness industry that constantly quotes that you need to sign up for 3 to 4 sessions in the gym to get results. And I get that is factual, but in reality, every exercise you do, every session that you do brings you closer and fitter to doing what it is that you want to do. And I see a lot of people just once a week for their weight training stuff, which I might add is a shortcut to be able to do longer things. It's really... Yes, you need the more you do, the better. But there's overtraining too, which is unlikely in this population, but it's about getting the training right so people don't get setbacks and don't get hurt, and that they can see progression and they can see their goal is in reach.
You're on Mornings Around Tasmania. We're talking with a walking expert, Jo Cordell-Cooper, personal trainer, founder of Tasmanian Iconic Walks and JCC Holistic Personal Training. Okay, so let's talk about the start of that program. What does it look like? We're imagining a sedentary person hasn't done a lot of exercise in a period of time. How are you starting their process? Once you've had the conversation, Jo,
Yep.
where does the actual work start?
Well, I start with an assessment, which is basically around joint health, postural analysis, their strength, the way they move, and a whole medical history. And then we start from there. So there are some fundamentals that come with any fitness program, like squatting. You talked about burpees. I'd have to say we're probably a burpees-free gym.
The old burpee. Yeah, I love it. We've done some good burpees here on Mornings.
I'm sure.
We've done some good burpees
Knock
on
yourself
Mornings.
out. It's not for me. But I work in that. My studio is backed onto the bush. So, we can just go out the back gate and start to walk along in the bush if we want. Most people are looking for strength. So, if it's squats and so on, sit to stand is probably a great place to start. And that means you have a chair behind you and you sit down and you stand up and you repeat that. And there you go. You've done 10 squats and you feel safe about it and you are safe. Yeah.
How about, JP's got a question via text this morning, and if you've got a question, send it in. Call me 1300 222 936 or send me a text 0438 922 936. We're talking with somebody who trains people to walk. Jo Cordell-Cooper's her name, and you're welcome to join us too. 1300 222 936. Give me a call. JP's texted, how about walking with weights to increase bone strength and density? Asked JP this morning.
Yeah, that is such an interesting question because we know if we're trying to improve bone health that we need some kind of impact or shock to make the bones toughen up. So the evidence around walking with weights, I'm assuming this is weights in a pack. Look, this is great for bulking up muscles and tendons and ligaments too will be enhanced and strengthened from that process. And certainly I read in the paper today someone carrying more than what they do on multi-day hikes in their training. And that's absolutely, that's a great thing to do.
So the idea is when you get on the multi-day hike, you feel like you're flying because you've got less than what you trained in.
Correct. Yeah, but as addressing osteoporosis, I think, is the question that's being asked. There are better ways, but that is certainly advantageous. Definitely, we need to get the whole body stronger so that we can progress it. So I'm not saying, no, it's not good for bone health. There are other ways to improve bone health, but let's not discount it because we need our muscles to be strong as well.
Jo, I'm starting to get back into running, and so I'm doing run walking as my way of trying not to get injured.
Yeah.
When you start walking, what do you do? Walk stopping? How do you get back into walking
in
a way where you don't get injured?
Yeah. I guess it's all in the timing. Like walking is such a fundamental way of moving. So I guess it's, if you haven't been walking at all, if you've been quite sedentary, it would be picking somewhere that's quite flat and just going for 10 minutes out and 10 minutes back, that sort of thing. Around Natone Hill is quite a beautiful, easy one. And then you're immersed in nature as well, which always is motivating and distracting. That's one thing we'll do.
And if you do it in the suburbs, you might see someone you know. You can have a chat on the way. And that'll make you feel good too.
It's definitely key to finding a buddy and having a goal together, perhaps, or a regular meet-up time. So, it's a fun chit-chat. And we were talking off air about if you can walk and talk, is that a good thing? That is a great thing. That's definitely...
So, that is an interesting point, right? What is the level at which you're getting a real health benefit? Is there a particular speed or a particular sort of human metric, in other words, or when I'm puffing or when I can feel my heart beating inside my chest or, for those with a heart watch, when I'm over 120 beats per minute? Like, is there a target for maximum efficiency or maximum benefit from your walk training?
Look, everyone's eyes are going to start glazing over if I get too technical on this one. So let's just say if you can walk and talk, you've got great health benefits. A little bit more than that, a little bit more huff and puff, harder to get your sentence out. That's your heart health range. So whether that's on the flat or up a hill, you're certainly going to get there. And then when we start looking at things like, you want to go hiking, you need to have that in your back pocket that you can do that higher intensity stuff and not freak out about it. So there's that mental toughness stuff again, that it's okay for your heart to get up, and you can stop at any time, get the heart rate down again and go again. That's interval training. Like you were saying, walk, run. It's the same thing with hiking. Walk, stop, walk, sit down, pace it out, pull it back a bit, walk a hill, walk down a hill, that sort of thing. Great for health.
It's been great to see you this morning. Thanks for talking about walking, and hopefully it's inspired a few people to get off the couch and do it for winter so that we're in tip-top shape for when the days get a little bit longer. Lovely to chat this morning, Jo.
Thank you.
Jo Cordell-Cooper, personal trainer, expert in walking, trains people to do it, runs a walking company. You're on Mornings Around Tasmania.